temperature outside?
No, I don't. Chilly. You can go out and look. You could probably do basketball, maybe. Use your common sense, okay? Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Hey gang, I didn't even get a chance to correct my number. Daily Art Adventure number 584. There's no number on there. That's part of the reason I do that, so people can know which number they're watching. Anyway, I decided to go ahead and broadcast a little bit anyway, even though I thought I was done today. I'm doing one of the last steps in the painting process, which is broken color. All right, so I demurred in my last broadcast to describe it again, but I will not demur now. I will describe it again. Broken color means putting colors down that are not necessarily representational, not necessarily realistic, but match the value that you put. How can I say this? You want to put colors down on parts of the painting that match the lightness, darkness, match the value, but are contrasting in color. So that's called broken color. And in the last maybe 6 months or so, I've been given to doing this as a discrete and separate step. It doesn't need to be separate, but it's sort of a checking system. That is, if I haven't incorporated enough broken color up until this point, which is almost always the case, that I haven't incorporated enough, then I will come in at this point and introduce these rather random and abstract bits of color. And I've discovered in myself a distinct tendency to gravitate toward secondary colors, that is orange, green, and purple. At the moment, I have orange. Let's see. Now that was wrong. It was too dark. So it's a bit of a trick I've discovered. It's not as easy as it sounds. Maybe or evidently I'm bad at it. I'm bad at spotting parts of the painting that are this value. Now, before I go on to a different, I'm anxious to do different color. I guess there's some stuff, and it's what I've got on my brushes right now is a little bit of a dirty orange, rust orange. Yeah, not real intense. Okay, but I'm tired of that. Let's let's just clean those brushes and yeah, I'm going to follow my tendency at the moment and go around the color wheel to a purple violet color. And it just happened to be mixing up a fairly bright light, not very dark, that is to say, a fairly light version of that right now. So that means I'm looking for parts of the painting that match this value. Now, this concept of broken color was brought back forcefully to me. I'm wondering if that's the right word. Be that as it may, it was brought back into my conscious awareness through my friend David Foster, who's a part of our regular monthly Painters Forum. David and I have been a part of that group for 8 or 9 years. And I enjoy him and I enjoy his artwork a lot. And he was studying with an artist by the name of Phil Stark or Phil Starks, I forget. I think it's Phil Stark, singular. Be that as it may, you could look it up and correct me. Phil Stark, I believe. And one of the great parts about, and again, I'll throw in here another shameless commercial for you guys. You have to be a part of a painters group. Just watch out for prima donnas and control freaks, that's all. Don't let anybody take over. It's everybody gets to share, not just some big shot, not just somebody with a need to hear themselves talking. Anyway, somehow we've managed to avoid all those pitfalls, it seems to me. Anyway, so one of the benefits of a painters group like this is my friend David would go off, and some of it, I think it was in person, some of it was by correspondence, I think. And he would bring back to us, as do other members of our group, things that they had learned from the classes they had taken. Woohoo! That's a pretty good deal, isn't it? So you get to learn stuff from classes that you did take. You didn't have to travel or pay for. So my friend David, for a couple of years, would speak frequently of the things that he was learning from Phil Stark, or Starks. And I had certainly heard of this concept of broken color before, but as I said, it was brought back to me strongly through the mediation of David Foster. So we owe the teaching of Phil Starks. Again, he's not the only one by any means, but that's just how it came to me. So this idea, and I certainly don't think that he did it. I don't think, maybe I could stand corrected, I don't think he did what I'm doing, which is making broken color, adding broken color, a separate and distinct step. I don't necessarily think this is the best way to do it. It's just the way I'm doing it right now. In fact, more and more and more, I am getting into the habit of doing this through the process of the painting. So it's not a separate step. And I think that's probably a step of maturity for me. And I've done that a bunch in this painting already, but that doesn't stop me from saying, wait a minute, okay, well, but let's go back now and see, do we have enough broken color? Again, for some of you, you'd really need to understand this. This is not predicated on realism, okay? I'm not doing these colors in order to make the painting more realistic. In fact, quite the contrary. I'm making the painting, technically speaking, I'm making it noticeably less realistic. Oh, here's a good place for purple, because this building actually has a slight purple cast to it anyway. So in the last several years then, this concept of broken color. Now broken value, on the other hand, which is my whole painting technique is dependent upon, predicated upon the notion of broken punchy color. Chiaroscuro would be the, the angel word. Like the light is exploding off this bridge and off the fronts of some of these buildings. So that's broken values. And broken values are more important than broken color, in as much as values are more important than color. Don't know if you know that or not, but in my opinion, sort of goes without saying, but I've just said it. Not broken. Values trump color. Values are more important. Okay, I've probably done just about enough purple. You don't want to get carried away with anyone. I've changed it slightly. I've added more and more ultramarine, but you don't want to just do too much of the same color anywhere. So I know it's at a wide angle, so you guys can hardly see what I'm doing. Let me zoom in here for a minute. So I've got a fairly dark blue. Ooh, it's quite dark. Okay. One of the things I've discovered is places where I have, in the painting, where I have a neutral dark, like in this case, quite brownish. So anywhere where I have or up here, what I call dark bleck, B-L-E-C-K, which is a color that I used to use a lot, not so much now. But I'm particularly looking for those spots where I have just a neutral color. How much better to come in, because I've got dark blue on my brush right now, on my brushes. How much better to come in and introduce a surprising little bit of chroma into those dark things. And I will say this without hesitation, that having just in the last, I don't know, year sometime, really begun doing this very intentional broken color layer, that when I'm done, like if I just stood back right now and looked at this painting the way it is, with the little bits of color here and there. In fact, I'm going to do a step back here by the garage door. Oh yeah, there are just all these little surprising bits of color that I put in there. It's just a sparkle. It's a shimmer. And can you see this? Barely. Okay. For instance, you see this face of this building? It's basically an orange color, but it's got purple there and pinkish red here and here. That makes no logical sense. Do you understand? But because the values match up, it still reads as a single plane. Your brain doesn't say, oh, wait a minute, that doesn't look like a wall because it's different colors. No, your brain says it does look like a wall, even though it's different colors. Now, let me shift colors again. So now I'm mixing, oh, and I just added white, so it just got quite a bit lighter. So now I will not be doing those dark areas. What is on my brush is just about a cobalt blue, considerably lighter than what I had on there a few minutes ago. Now, I'm sure that this can be overdone. And I say that wondering, am I overdoing this? I don't think I am. It feels, as I'm doing it, it feels a little bold and gutsy. It's like, ooh, I'm overdoing it. But then, again, I'm gonna back up. When I back up and look at the painting, no, it doesn't, at least to me at the moment, it doesn't look like too much at all. I see another good place for some color up here. There's a lot of brown up here in this particular building, which makes it a good candidate, I'm learning. Makes it a good candidate for broken color. Ooh, much better. That building just came alive. Much, much better. Whew. And think, I could have, you know, called it done, gone to bed, woke up the next morning and say, yeah, painting's done. And I would have missed that bit of definite life that just happened. Visual energy. Okay, I'm going to change colors once again to green. So since I started broadcasting, I've just gone right around the color wheel. Well, I'm doing secondary. So I was doing purple, then I went to blue. I mean, yeah, I did. I was doing orange, went to purple, which shifted to blue, and now I'm doing green. Okay, so again, focused to a considerable degree on the secondary colors. I'm not at all sure that that's a rule or ought to be a good rule. I just find it seems to work for me. Okay, so now I have a kind of a pea green, fairly pale. Now, putting green, see, on that tree right there, that's not really broken color. That's local color. The trick is to look for areas that are not green. And by the way, here, just in case somebody wants to, here's one of the things I've learned. When I first started doing this local color stuff, I tended to be a little bit dotty, doing dots of color. By the way, what I just did, let me zoom in on that. That mark right there, that is not, I repeat, that is not broken color. Why? It's okay, I'm gonna leave it, by the way. But why is that not broken? Because it's broken value. Because it's not at all the color, that stroke jumps off the canvas at you because it's very much brighter, lighter than what's there. Okay, so back to the job at hand. I'm looking for areas. Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, I tended to be too dotty. That's right. So I then very quickly realized, oh, when you're doing broken color, it does not need to be, in fact, probably shouldn't be most of the time, should not be little dots of color. Otherwise, we have to engage in what we've talked about here often, de-dotification. If you're new to our channel, welcome. A little corner of the universe where we make up words whenever we feel like it. So de-dotification is actually a term that has been used here more than once. Okay, likewise, what I'm doing right now is not broken color. That's just because the tops of those buildings actually are green, so that's local color. Looks good though, so I'm gonna do some more up here in this tree. Somebody one of my old friends down in Wilmington, Brenda Bear, B-E-H-R, one hardworking artist. We've known each other for 10 years or so. She made the observation, which others have made too, that my paintings, and I think she's talking especially about the tree foliage part of my paintings, have a feeling of batik about them. Huh, not the first time I've heard that. And she said, maybe it's because of the negative, it was complimentary. She said she liked it. She's looking at my paintings and say, your paintings always have this feeling of batik. And I've heard that before in my painters group, critique group. She said, maybe it's because of the negative painting, so much negative painting, which, let me zoom in just for a second since I brought it up. We're talking about that kind of stuff up there. Do you see that up here? Yeah, looks batiki. And most people seem to like it, so. Let me switch, stay in green. Let's add a lot of white to that. So I get a very much paler green. Now, yeah, just a subtle blush right there, just a subtle, yeah. I did a broadcast earlier today about how have I improved, what's improved in the last 1, 3, 5 years, and this is definitely one of those very particular things that has evolved in my painting in the last year, really. So that's pretty recent. Back up to this building, I think it can have some, whoa, rocking, can have some green up here. Yeah. While I'm up here, whoops, that screams out too loud, doesn't it? On that tree. Too much of a good thing. Oh boy. Do you ever have one of those oh boy moments? I know you do. Excuse me. I'm mixing up a whole bunch of things now. Trying to mix up a more neutral green to give that one stroke some company, some context, so it doesn't look like it's crazy out of place. There, that's better. That looks nice. Okay. I'm gonna mix some dark stuff with this dirty green that's on my brushes right now. So I've got a much darker olive green. So now I'm looking for, again, that doesn't count because that's local color. Those trees are green. But it looks nice. I put it there because it looks nice. It's going to look nice here too. This is a color I don't mix up very often. Once again, playing that little game of looking for parts of the painting that are dark. And coming in and doing color instead of dull dark, instead of just a dull dark black. B-L-E-C-K, I'm calling that. This color is working very nice. This dirty olive green. Car tire, right? Oh, I'm sorry, you guys. I do that way too often. I zoom in and forget to zoom out. Okay, car tire right here. Sorry about that. Now, I'm done with my secondary colors. How about red? I haven't done much pink or red. That would be good. I do not gravitate toward pink at all. If I had to name one color that I usually end up not using, it would be a bubblegum pink. But that's a weakness. It's to say that I don't use some color is just me acknowledging, ooh, that's not good, because an artist wants, in my opinion, wants to have a full repertoire of colors at their immediate consciousness, not have a blind spot like don't use pink. Does that make sense? Because another color I don't typically use, and I should look for places to use this, is a real bright light yellow. I use lots of warm yellows, lots of, well, warm, medium yellow, cad yellow medium, for instance. Cad yellow medium imitation. So let's do that. Let's do some, let's do pink first, since I mentioned that first. All right. Yes, that is a color I don't regularly use. Although I already did a couple last week. I do remember I did some on this painting already. Boy, that does show up. That intimidates me rather. We'll find out if this is a good idea or not. But that looked nice. Again, the key concept, I'm telling you while I'm telling myself. The key thing to keep in mind is match the values that are already there. How about up here? So those are not, what I just put down is very smudgy marks. Yeah, just a mist of pink, not a pink dot. And dots are okay too, but you have to be careful. You don't want to get, you know, the dreaded dotification happening. Nope, can't go down any further. Okay, let's pay some attention to down here at the bottom of the painting. Nice little pink blush there, that's kind of nice. Yeah, that's nice. How about that? I can use pink. That don't beat all. All dogs new trick kind of thing. All right, that's crazy enough. Let me stop there and do yellow now. Again, I don't. Now you can't mix up a cad yellow light. You understand that? That's a primary color. You can't take like a medium yellow and add white to it. That does not make cad yellow light. So what? I don't know. I don't know if I can do this or not. This is like super intense. Yikes almighty. Super intense yellow. My goodness. I'm scared to death. I see other people able to use this color. Good for them. Let them. I mean, this is crazy. Now, it's a very bright color, so the only place I could possibly use it is where it's very bright. Very bright colors already on the painting. I mean, white virtually. Yeah, no, that looks nice. Man, I'm going to talk myself into using yellow yet. Again, I use lots of warm yellow. Most of the time, the only time I use this cad yellow, lemon yellow light, Hansa yellow, those colors, the only time I use them is to mix them with green. In my mind, that's what I teach my students. Heard me say that. Don't even think of this as it's such a cold, cool yellow. You should think of it more as a green, chartreuse green, than you should think of it as a yellow. Okay, now let me stand back. This is so electric. I don't want to accidentally put down too much. No, no. That works fine. I can see little bits of it here and there. But I think it's, okay, now this, what I'm doing right here, that's not broken color. That's a combination, that's just a re-accentuation of what's already there. Nelson, I'm on the edge of my comfort zone. But that is where progress I know this. This is where progress, improvement, of course, it's also where disasters happen. Don't get me wrong. Just because you go out on the edge of your comfort zone doesn't mean it's going to be a breakthrough. So I'm being, as it looks, I'm being a little bit cautious. Let me stand back again. Have I got too much little bits of yellow? Nope. Is the painting better? Yep. That's a good feeling. Getting a little bit braver now. Can you tell? At the same time, I'm learning something. Next time I really want to slap down some pale green chartreuse, don't make it green. Just go straight for this cad yellow light. By the way, I don't use, you regulars, you know this, I don't use cads or cobalts. Don't need to, so why take the risk? Cad yellow imitation. I don't know anybody that can tell the difference between a real yellow and an imitation cad yellow. Now, that is not at all true for the cobalt blue imitation or the cad red or orange. I can spot a imitation cad orange from across the room, and I've done it on more than one occasion in classes, especially in their transparent form, I should add. Wow. Wow. This area of the painting just took on a whole new level of life. Wow. That's a happy discovery. Wow. And this is the focal point of my painting. Right? I'll zoom in there for just a second. It's the most intense light and light-dark contrast and color, and it's compositionally focal because this Z-shaped road takes you right in to that spot. Everything else is secondary, and an important secondary, but this is where your eye comes back to over and over and over. Wow, I gotta say, I really do like what happened with those little bits of yellow here and there. I see one more place that it can go, and this is partly representational because the letters on this building up here are yellow. I know, one last thing I'm going to do. All right. Glad I thought about this before I ended the broadcast. Let me tell you something. I tell people this all the time. So this past weekend, I judged a show It had 275 paintings in it. You know, not every painting got in, you know, so it was quite a big show. I judged who got in, then I judged the first, second, third, the 31 prizes that they had. And I say this, I said it, found myself saying it several times in the course of the weekend. After I judged the show, and some people cheered and some people cried. I'm being facetious. I hope nobody cried. I did a walk-around critique. Again, you can watch that on this channel. Just go back a few days and you'll see a walk-around critique. One of the things I found myself saying quite often in the course of that critique was talking about when somebody does a toned canvas, especially, you know, like one of the classic toned canvases is Chinese red or vermilion underneath the painting. Number one, I say try not to cover up so much of it. Let more of it show through. Number two, which is what I'm going to do right now, after you're done the painting, come back and mix up that color that was the underpainting. So my sky was pink, okay? So the whole canvas wasn't painted pink, but the sky was. And so I'm going to practice what I preach, and that is, after the painting is essentially all finished, come back and on top reintroduce that underpainting color that is on top of all the other colors. I'm saying, I don't mean on tops of the buildings, I mean on top of all of the paint that's there, and make it look as if this is pink that's peeking through from underneath. Okay, now here's why that works, because it taps into one of the broadest principles in painting, which is the human eye enjoys the sensation of being fooled by what's on top of what. Yeah, so you can see here's the underpainting up here, right? It's virtually exactly the color that I have on my brushes right here, right now. That's too intense of a spot. I'll come back and fix that later. So when the eye hits these little bits, the eye can't tell immediately. The eye can't tell, maybe ever, whether the pink that I'm putting down now, is it part of the underpainting, or was it done on top? So you see me doing it. It's actually done on top. But because it picks up, it's sort of like, if I jump out of my area of comfort for a minute, it's sort of like a woman's purse matching her shoes. I'm not sure that's a thing. I think it is. Or it's kind of like, I'm not a man of fashion at all, but I do have one sport coat that is a pale beige camel colored sport coat. It's not a camel coat, but it's a sport coat. And I have one pair of cowboy boots, several, because I lived in Texas for many years. And I have one pair of cowboy boots that are sort of like suede, and they're that same color. And it's so funny, when I wear, if you will, a suede colored jacket and a suede colored cowboy boots, I get so many comments on my boots. And that's sort of what I'm doing here. The underpainting is matching the overpainting. Our eye connects somewhere. It's like when a blue-eyed person, like myself, when a blue-eyed person wears a blue shirt, especially if said blue-eyed person is a cute young girl. I'm being facetious. You know what I mean, right? So these lines that I'm doing right now, right there, that was just a chaos line. That was not the lines that I'm doing now are serving to accentuate the little bits of the underpainting. I'm glad I thought to do that before. It's sort of like a special category of broken color. And I feel fairly confident about what I'm doing right now because I've done this particular trick for years. This is not a new trick for me. I wish you all could jump through space and come and see this painting in person. I promise the impact, I'm not bragging, this, you know, it's the same true of your paintings, of course, but the size of it really is really making this something special. It's quite the feast for the senses. I'm going to mix up a darker red. The one is just turned a little bit brown. Good enough. Whatever color I end up with, I'm going to put it on the painting. All right, it's kind of a, oh boy, I'm not sure what color to call it. Dark cherry. No, dull cherry. I know that one more thing, which don't hold me to it. It may be more than one more thing. Let me do now a very common and particular, traditional, almost to the point of, could be almost to the point of gimmicky, not really, but you'd have to watch out for things that are done too often. I'm going to try to mix up a dark burgundy. That's two. There we go. Dark burgundy maroon, whichever color you like to call that. This is a trick played by many of the old greats. I'm trying to think of the American painter. I'll think of it maybe here in a bit. In particular, the trick is doing burgundy in foliage, in green foliage. And I'm not thinking of the name. Bear with me for a minute. I'm trying to get my... There we go. I have monitor again. Anyway, so this very particular trick of doing dark burgundy in dark green, a trick worth knowing. I wonder if I can look up, let me see if I can look up this painting. For some reason, I remember the name of it, but I don't know if Google is going to find it by the name I know, called In the Gloaming, L-O-A-M-I-N-G. Oh, gloaming, no, In the Gloaming. Oh, I have loaming. Let me try loaming first. It may be gloaming. How about that? No, that doesn't recognize that. So In the Gloaming, so I just remembered it wrong. In the Gloaming, famous early American painter. So hang on, bear with me for just a minute. Painting. Let's see if it comes up. Evidently, there's lots of paintings with the word gloaming in it. Let me see if I can find one. Come on, I want the famous one, the famous early American one, you guys. Okay, looks like to me like the most famous one is George Inness. French, 1893. Oh, hey, okay, he does not use any burgundy in his green, but he should have. If only he'd been following. But he's got some gorgeous paintings called In the Gloaming. Sorry. Okay, that was a dead end. Man. I promise there's an early American painting by the title In the Gloaming. Too bad. And I don't remember for sure, but it was a kind of painting that may very well have had, it was 19th or 18th century, I think, early American, but it was the kind of painting that may very well have had burgundy in the dark green. That's part of it. Hello, are you okay?
Yeah, I just woke up.
Oh, okay. Do you want to get him out?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. All right, gang. So, Junior boy, here he is. How are you, Avi? Did you have a good nap? Here. Here, want to put your shoes on? Okay, I want all these people to see my cutest 2-year-old grandson. Can you see? Wave hi to those people in that camera. Here, I'm going to bring you guys down. He's just too precious to miss. Do you see yourself? All right, let's put your shoes on. Want to wave hi to that camera right there? Very good. You wonder why we don't mind having grandchildren live with us. It's a challenge sometimes, but the blessings way outweigh the challenges. Is it paint?
Paint.
Yeah. You know I'm painting. I'm painting this big picture right behind you. Do you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Is it pretty? I'm a beggar sucker for compliments even from 2-year-olds. All right. I have not been seeing your chats at all, so hang on just a second. Let me look and see if I can find those here. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah, there's a few people watching right now. Bear with me while I try to find you.
What's that?
Oh, it's called Third Phase of a Wedding Painting. That is so funny. That is so, I'll change the title. This is not Third Phase of a Wedding Painting, Daily Art Adventure number 266. So I didn't realize that had happened. All right, I'll fix the title later. Let's go back and see. Hey, Trucker Daddy, John in Quebec. Thank you for joining me today. I wish you could see it in real life. Yeah, put it exactly. Chromecast it to your big screen. That's better. I'm using a Mevo camera, M-E-V-O, controlled from my phone. And then I'm using an iPad here as a monitor. Thanks for asking. Yeah, and the Mevo works with this. I've got a microphone. Test 1, 2. Yeah, it's working. Yeah, microphone. And Pink Haze Pie, howdy from Texas. Good to hear from you again. Good to hear from you, Superfood 52. Susan in California. Good, thank you. By the way, since I cut some notches into that row of trees. A suggestion from Vincent, my last broadcast, that helped. Yeah, Susan, I know I keep getting off camera. Sorry about that. Terrible, terrible. Trucker Daddy, I don't know if you're still with us, but Mevo, M-E-V-O. Not an insult. If you squint, it looks real. And it's Cindy's Sins. Well, I don't know how to pronounce that. It does look like Charlotte. It's actually Raleigh. Thanks, guys, for your nice comments. I love that. Appreciate it. There we go. Bruno answering Trucker Daddy's question. Good to have you guys. Appreciate it very much. So I'm sure this is my last broadcast of today because everything on this canvas needs to hurry up and dry so that tomorrow I will do my next to last stage, which is glazing the entire thing, whichever colors I want, any colors I want, and then doing final touch-ups, which I have no idea what that'll be. I won't know until I do the glaze. And the glaze can be anywhere from moderately intense, not likely here, but it can be slightly intense, to nearly perfectly transparent, which is, if I like the overall tonal range of the painting, which I do, then the glazes are more likely to be more subtle. But especially in areas like this where there's a lot of light and white, a very pale, warm glaze will really make that glow. And then I come back on top of the glaze with yet more very nearly white, titanium white, and do a little bit of impasto on top of that. And it just adds an additional whole dimension to the painting. Thank you for joining me as I stand here just looking at the broken color right now. It's a lot more interest and energy happening in the painting. So I think that was time well spent. Right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for your comments. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you don't like it, somebody help me finish up that sentence for me. Same joke. I'll keep that between you and me.